Hello, I'm Ben, and this is my podcast where I share interviews, tips, and ideas to help you build a better marketing strategy. Now, there are so many different and varied ways to build a website, from coding your own in HTML to using a content management system like Weebly, Squarespace, or WordPress. So in this extract from Club Webinar number 18, I talk through the pros, cons, and costs of the top website builders out there. So we'll start with just this view of different market share. This is just showing that the dominance at the moment, I can't remember when this was taken, I think it was late last year, that WordPress is the dominant web platform at the moment. It's not necessarily the best for everything. We like it because we can really get to know it and understand it and be bloody good at it. But it's not always the best for everything. It may be if you've got a very small site, like a few pages, you might actually be better off with just a few HTML files if you're focused on speed. But if you want to focus our website on ease of update and having the content managed by lots of people, WordPress is a great platform for that. But you've also got Joomla and Drupal, which a lot of people still use. Squarespace and Wix, they're two quite popular content management sites on there as well. So let's have a walk through them. So Wix, and these I've come across and used many of these with different people. Sometimes I've helped them build the website in these particular platforms, but I wouldn't necessarily advocate to use any of these if we were building a website, but there is nothing wrong with them if you're prepared to go through the, if you're happy with the way that they work. So you've definitely got to check them out and understand what their limitations are. So with Wix, it's pretty quick to set up. It's got a few questions you can go through to help refine the right template for your business. And then it puts a sort of loose idea of a website together with some example content. And then you just fill in the blanks. So people really like that. It can be very useful for starting off. It's got lots of templates. There are simple blocks with prompts. And what I quite like, it's got built-in lots of apps for adding additional things like blog, appointments, e-commerce. I don't like the way it does it, but if you want something quick, it's quite a cheap way to get a website up and running with relatively low skill level. Here are some of the things it looks like, some of the template examples. This is actually someone I work with through the Faster Business Program and helping her develop her website. And there's some of their costs. So it can be quite cheap, really. Weebly is another one. I haven't used this so much, but I know a few people do use it. I think I probably prefer the design system on this to Wix, but each to their own. It's how you've got to look at these systems and see which you prefer. I have the least experience with this, but it's got definitely plenty of themes. The designer editor, it's more flexible, but it does allow too much freedom. And I think it allows you too much freedom to actually break the site. There are free accounts available, which some of the others don't have. Some examples here. You can obviously look through these in more detail. Squarespace. This is one I would often recommend if people aren't going to go for WordPress. You've got tons of control over design. I actually quite like it because I can go in and put CSS, so custom cascading style sheets in place to make the design do exactly what I want if need be. The e-commerce can be quite basic. I find the SEO is a bit tricky, really does not allow you the scope that WordPress does. You can adjust template code. You can get nitty gritty if you want, but I couldn't recommend it completely as a website platform because it just doesn't allow me to do everything I want, but it can be a great place to start. It is the more expensive of the few I'm mentioning though. So here's some examples. This is a client kitchen maker over in Nailsworth, and they developed, their designer actually developed it, and we've then helped put some SEO in place. It's quite nice. It looks really nice. And their prices. So it's a bit more expensive than the others by about 3 times. And then there's WordPress. I mean, there's 2 flavors of WordPress. There's the hosted version. So that's where you get a server and you manage it yourself, or you go on WordPress.com, pay them a fee, and they'll do that. You can do it for free on WordPress.com, so you can go and set something up there. I love WordPress. So as a self-managed option, I think it allows you to do anything you want, customize in any particular way. Using WordPress.com, though, I find it's slightly restrictive. And also, I don't quite like the interface. They've got the WordPress interface, plus they add their other interface on top of it. And I don't get it. Maybe it works better for people who don't want to dive into the detail. But I think WordPress gives you the best control over everything, particularly if it's self-hosted. But you can experiment with a WordPress.com site for free, test it out, see how it's going to work. And then if you want to dive into making your own, you can use a self-managed option. And actually, a lot of hosting providers will set up WordPress for you, and then you just go in and customize it by choosing themes and putting your content in. So actually, a self-hosted option, if you're willing to go the extra mile and you've got a good host, is worth doing. This is the WordPress.com, so lots of templates there. Some you have to pay for. They're in the premium version. They won't be available for free. This is part of one that we're developing. So it has a really nice block editor. It's come a long way, actually. WordPress is pretty good for that now. And the costs vary. They can go from pretty cheap all the way through to for e-commerce. A little bit more, well, not expensive, but you're paying a bit more for it. And then finally, Shopify. I'd really recommend Shopify, actually. If you're just building a shop and you want it done really quickly, Shopify is brilliant, really easy to set up. It integrates with Stripe, which they organize for you, and you can get a shop up and running incredibly quickly. So if you want a website, I would always opt for either Squarespace or WordPress. If you just want a shop set up pretty quickly, even if you've got a website already and you just need a shop set up, I'd use Shopify. It's a really cracking way to get a shop set up. Again, if you want more flexibility, I'll go for WordPress with WooCommerce. It's one of the better ways to give you total flexibility. But Shopify is pretty good to start with. A lot of e-commerce sites use it. Simple to set up. It does actually have an app on your phone, so you can monitor and adapt the whole site on your phone, which is ace. It's really, really good. Works very well. In fact, our sister site, Inventive People, is totally on Shopify. I will be moving it to our own installation. I only put it on Shopify to test it out, get to know Shopify a bit better, and because I didn't have the time to develop a custom version at the moment. But it's really good. The one thing I would say about it, it doesn't allow you to easily get into the code, so it can be really frustrating from that point of view. Here's some ideas of themes. Again, all the designs look lovely in these template builders, as our Inventive People site. It's a bit more pricey. It's more like Squarespace, but it does have the options and it's well worth it. If you found this podcast interesting, you might like my marketing club. You can join for free to receive regular tips and advice by email so you can become more effective in marketing your business. Pro members get access to my live webinars every month, along with all previous webinar videos, an audio-only podcast to listen to while you walk the dog, and exclusive discounts and other perks. You can find out more by visiting ratherinventive.com/club. That's ratherinventive.com/club.